BEEX project is a no-profit foundation about visual art and photography. If you want to help us, just drop a donation on buymeacoffee.com/BerlinExplorer. Welcome to this appointment of 50 minutes of experience. Today I'm with Tommaso Carrara from London. Welcome, Tommaso.
Hello, thanks. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, it's nice to have you. And today, as you know, we talk about your experience as a photographer, not only. And as you know, I would like to have an introduction by you about you, and then we can go on.
Sure thing. So I've been living in the UK, specifically London, for the past 13 years, and I'm an IT security guy, so I work in something completely different from photography. And I stumbled upon photography. That was the end of 19, possibly, and almost 2 years ago. And that was basically following the end of a relationship. I had so much time in front of me. I just wanted to do something which I've always been kind of curious about doing, but I didn't really never do. So I didn't really kind of make the step. So I decided to buy, the digital camera, which obviously I wouldn't have operated before that, and kind of try to take pictures on the street with no form instruction or anything about photography. So I had to kind of go myself and document myself and learn how to, first of all, operate camera. So that was how I started photography. And again, this is just an hobby for me for now, but I'm kind of liking it. So that's how I started making pictures.
Okay, so it's an hobby that I think you invest a lot of time in, because from what I see there is a lot of scene, a lot of photography, you did, and what kept my attention is for sure the way you capture some scene that are really interesting. I mean, there are really many scene are really interesting, and I like how you catch them in a way. It's really nice that and let's say I would like to talk with you today about what is your impression of the street. What do you see more than what you see and what you show to us in photography? What do you think about the street? What do you think about to be in the street in London?
Right. So yeah, that pros and cons, to be honest. So obviously, there's so much going on, even now and even a year ago when the pandemic had already kicked in. So those streets are basically full of things happening, weird people, old people going walking, classy people, very weird situations. And so that's good as a street photographer because, kind of you're attracted and drawn by those, let's say, peculiar situations that might present it to you. At the same time, it's also sometimes too much. So it's very difficult to find a particular situation or scene because there are so many. So what I did, initially it was quite difficult because there was so many things going on. With the time, I was able to kind of narrow down a little bit more and do some selection whilst I was shooting, because as most of us probably, I started doing this, what is called spray and pray kind of thing. Like, you see something which could be interesting, you start a burst of 50 or 100 shots and you hope something it's there when you go back home. So I started to be a bit more selective about the work I do, to compose differently and to work out the scene a little bit more differently in the past probably year or so, and have an intention about something more than hoping that a certain situation would evolve well. Obviously, I can't make things go in a certain way, but I can definitely do some selection whilst I walk the streets and kind of feel what's going on. One of the things again, which I stopped doing, which I was doing at the beginning, was kind of listen to the music, because that would relax me and kind of make me feel comfortable. But at the same time, that I would feel very distant from the street. So I had to be aware of what's going on, especially if something was about to happen, which most of the time you actually hear before you see. So those are more small things here and there that I've started doing or stopped doing recently, or let's should say probably after 1 year, which when I start shooting.
I have seen also that you published zine, High Stack Heroes, and I'm really curious to talk about that with you today.
Sure. So back in between August and September, I spent 10 days in the Scotland, in Northern Isles, which are basically islands that are part of Scotland, between Scotland and Norway. Those are Orkney and Shetland. So I spent a few days in Orkney and then a few days in Shetland. And how the zine came out basically is kind of my very first project, which kind of came out a little bit out of the blue, I should say. So I was with my girlfriend in Orkney, in one of the smallest island in Orkney, which is called Westray. And whilst we were visiting the island, we stumbled upon a very, very well dressed and scarecrow, very, very accurately dressed, and that was quite weird. Also, on top of that, you have like this very Scottish weather, a bit hazy. So it was just something I did have to photograph. And then after a few meters, another one, then another one. So I basically took a portrait of all of these because of these scarecrows, or at least those that I was able to find in the island, only 16 of them. I believe others probably must have got destroyed by the high winds that normally that are normally a case in Orkneys. So I could have captured only 16, but out of those 16, I gathered all together and made a zine. The proceeds and part of the proceeds will go in support of RNLI, and RNLI is the Royal National Navy Institution, and that's basically a self-funded association which kind of do save lives at sea. And those are basically, that is the main reason why those families, they did actually crafted all these scarecrows. So they did that in the first place, and I thought, okay, what I can do is to take a picture and make a portrait of all of those I can find, and republish them, and kind of do this kind of a charity project / photography project.
Yeah, yeah, it's I think really nice and really good always to challenge yourself, also producing something that usually don't do it, no?
Yeah.
And uh, I'm curious to ask you. I have seen that most of the time you are in the city center in London, but yeah, also that you take some breaks from the city and then you go outside somewhere else. And
Yes.
I'm really curious to ask you, what do you think it's really particular and attractive for you to stay in the city center, and what you don't find in the city center, and then you start to discover outside.
So, I mean, I'm normally attracted to the city, and one of the reasons why I moved to London is because I've always been in love with concrete, with people, with mass, with vibe. However, probably that does happen after several years spent in a big city. You do sometimes feel like, oh, you know what, I want to probably go somewhere else outside of the city, one of the many coastal towns that are here in England, and kind of do a little bit of a different type of photography, more relaxed, and more kind of taking your time, more, I would say, similar to medium format photography or large format photography, which I don't necessarily do with the medium format, but for me is more like taking the time to uh, look around me a bit more and appreciate different things that you don't normally find in a city like London. So I do normally go and spend weekends in those coastal towns, and what I find there is mainly relax and also a different landscape. Obviously, I do like
Yeah,
urban scapes, but I do also like piers and sea and the beach, etc. So all those things that are cliffs as well. So all those things that you would find in many of the coastal towns here in England. So mainly for me, it's just a relaxation, I would say, and it also a different type of photography. So it's not strictly street, but it's also kind of street in a different context.
do you think there is something really difficult? I mean, gave you difficulties usually in London when you go to shoot outside?
No, I don't think there's any particular issue occurring to me in London, and not even outside of London. It's for me, it's more just to kind of do a little bit of variety, and and this is something I haven't started working on yet, but I will probably start working in the future. Is probably do something, start a project around the differences between the big city and the coastal town, and all those smaller realities. And because again, I'm attracted to both. I was very attracted to Orkney, which is very very
Yeah,
a small reality, but I'm also attracted to big cities as well. So I think it's more than anything else is the variety.
yeah, sure. I mean, I have to say that probably I had not a long time in London, so then I cannot probably say mine. But when I was there, I don't know, it was not difficult to shoot, but in a way different from other cities I visited before. I mean, I felt a bit not really allowed to shoot pictures, or maybe yeah, I was just stopped by myself from the feeling I had. But I have to say, in the other side that I liked a lot to shoot. Um, the shop there was around the lights are
Mhm.
so nice, I think, and that they give you a lot of inspiration to take a lot of different angulation and photography reflection.
Absolutely. I mean, it's funny what you say about kind of feel not allowed, or maybe we should say probably not feeling uh, that much. I don't know how to pose this, but I know what you mean, and that's probably the reason why I'm saying is kind of funny is because out of different countries I visited after starting making photographs, this is probably one of the few where you are allowed to take pictures in public places, no matter what, compared to, for instance, Italy or France or even Germany. Germany has very strict rules about street photography, so it is probably you were not referring about the laws. It was more like a feeling you had, and that's why I said this. It's quite peculiar because here on paper by the law you can take a picture anywhere uh, as long as it's a public place.
Yeah,
Obviously, that doesn't mean you should take stupid pictures, or let's say put your life in danger or other people's life in danger, obviously, but by the laws it's perfectly okay to do so. And I probably have, I came across probably once or twice someone asking me, oh, why are you taking a picture, I don't want you to have a picture of me, and I just deleted the picture because it's not a big deal. But in all the other cases, they're so busy, especially in London, they really don't care.
Yeah, yeah, sure. I mean, it's for sure a big city, so then for sure no one give a fuck. But yeah, I don't know. It was a city. It's a city that gave to me a bit of feeling. I don't know of I will not use this word, but probably it's the most close. It's a bit racist, but it's okay. I mean,
Mhm.
it's not this exactly the word, but it's kind of.
All
But
right.
by the way, um, let's do it the last question, and I want to ask you, what do you think it's the reason why you started to take street photography and not fashion photography, not something else?
Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I must say, out of many different expression of art, probably I'm not one who goes into museums and does stuff. I would say something not true if I told you, oh yes, I've always been in love. No, not at all. I don't like art in general. However, if I have to count how many times I entered in a in a in a museum with the idea or with the particular interest in looking at an exhibition, 9 out of 10 it was for a photography exhibition. I must have seen probably 10 photography exhibition. That's it, and maybe two or three about paintings. That's it. However, I've always liked beautiful pictures. I did buy. I used to buy. I do still buy prints about from masters from the 60s, 50s, the 60s. So I do like beautiful pictures. I like cinema, etc. So the reason why I decided at some point instead of doing other type of photography, I went to street probably is just because it's the type of photography which tells me more. I mean, which interested me the most, and it's also very kind of simple to get started. You don't need you do not need any expensive gear. You don't need even much technical expertise, to be honest, because when you know how to operate a camera, even if you do in automatic, it's okay. I mean, it's different from doing landscape or fashion photography because
Yeah,
in fashion photography and landscape, you're very, flash, you need to how to operate flash. You need to kind of go in right places at the right time so the light is in a certain way. So street photography is a bit probably it's a bit easier to start with. Then it's a very difficult to do well, but to get started is probably much easier than other types of photography. Then that's the probably the only photography I like. I like landscape as well a little bit, but I don't have the patience to kind of go there and plan everything. But other types of photography, like food photography or fashion photography, is just something I don't like, and this is why I started with street probably.
yeah, cool. So thank you a lot for your time, Tommaso. It was
Thank you
nice
very much.
to meet you and to talk with you today
All right,
about
same here.
photography. And yeah, if anyone wants to see the work of Tommaso, link is in the description as always. And I'm really looking forward to talk with you maybe in the next year also, and to see what is the effect of our actually pandemic on the city center, because I think it's something that we are experiencing in a way also indirectly. Every one of us live in big cities, and this also influence a lot our way to shoot pictures.
Sure it does. All right, thank you very much,
Thank
Emiliano.
you again. Thank you for listening to this podcast, and if you want to learn more about us, you can visit the link allmylinks.com, Berlin Explorer, or our website bexproject.com. And if you want to follow us, you can always get news from Instagram on our account BX Project. Thank you again, and see you in the next episode.